Rican dude. And when he was benching on the yard, the Puerto Rican dude there's two stories. One is he stabbed him in the chest. The other one is he hit him with a plate in the head. And that's how Mama Herc died. But there's like real deal legendary booty bandits in certain prisons where their stories have been passed on for years and years and years.
Yeah, we're going to search for it real quick. This YouTube video named Booty Bandit, Mama Herc, Florida prison legend. And yeah, it's a big old dude with big muscles.
Yeah.
And
They kept him in it.
yeah, someone you don't want to run into in the wrong situation.
Mm-hmm.
Get the QuickBooks mobile app. Simply snap photos of receipts, tap, and sort.
This episode of Dates and Dead Guys is sponsored by the Apache were raiders, known to take young children when they had the chance. More often, cattle or supplies would go missing. A tax ranchers had to pay because if they followed the trails into the hills, they likely wouldn't come back. You were taught that the Apache Wars ended in 1886 with the surrender of Geronimo, but they didn't. These Bronco Apache, as they were called by the locals, would fight on well into the 1930s, until a father, out of revenge, becomes determined to make them extinct. I'm warning you right now, there are no happy endings here. Let's get into it. It's October 1927. Riding on horseback as fast as they can, a group of Mexican ranchers hurry to the location of the latest Apache raid. When they get to the scene, one man, moving with more urgency than the others, jumps off his horse and rushes to the body of a woman covered in blood on the banks of a trailside ravine. As the others secure the scene, he frantically checks the woman for signs of life. There aren't any. Stab wounds are all over her body. The man kneels and begins to sob. She was his wife. But after just a moment, he stands, and with a look of panic, he begins to search the area. Not seeing what he's looking for, he stares into the wilderness. His despair turns into rage. His son was with his wife, and the Apache had taken him. From that day forward, Francisco Fimbres would only live for two reasons: to get his son back, and to kill every damn Apache still living in those mountains. The Apache Wars ended in 1886, technically. That is when Geronimo and his band of about 40 Apache last surrendered to the American government. But Geronimo's Chiricahua were not the last of the free Apache. There were more holdouts. Estimates are just that, estimates, but there may have been as many as 100 or more Apache living in the Sierra Madre Occidental Mountains well into the 1920s. The locals called them Bronco Apache. They were the survivors. After centuries of constant war, they were still there. The Spanish and Comanche teamed up in the late 1700s to exterminate them. In the 1800s, the Mexican government paid scalp bounties to manhunters to see them wiped out. And the Americans dedicated a quarter of their standing army to bring in Geronimo. But well into the 1900s, they were still there. They would travel incredible distances, both on foot and by horse, always moving to keep from being discovered. They kept silent, hiding their presence. They would raid locals in rural areas, stealing livestock, but occasionally also killing ranchers or kidnapping women and children before disappearing without a trace into the mountains. To the Mexican, these Broncos were a menace. Boogeymen of an untamed wilderness, always there, always watching, never seen but felt, truly terrifying. And they all knew they were there. They would hear sounds like animals, but not quite right. Hunting parties would find camps, still warm with the embers of fires, but with no one in them. To these Apache, the Mexicans were simply obstacles to their survival. In such small numbers, they were mostly left alone. But the Apache decision to raid the Fimbres family put an end to that. Prior to Francisco Fimbres finding his wife dead and his son missing, they were together. They were traveling near a small town in Sonora called Nacorichico, where they lived. They had two horses. On a narrow mountain path, Francisco was riding along with his young daughter in the rear. Maybe 30 yards ahead was his wife Maria and 3-year-old son Geraldo. There, in the foothills of the Sierra Madre, the family continued down the winding path before turning a corner where there was a large boulder on the trail side. There are several versions of what happened next. In one, Maria had just rode past the boulder when Francisco heard the crack of a gunshot. He saw his wife fall from the horse, shielding Geraldo in her arms before a small group of Apache ran out from behind the boulder. In another version, there are no gunshots.
That people that already bought that like review on, and that was like nice.
In the past, go 12 rounds and not have a mark on their face. That's what happens when you stick and move. You hit and you don't get hit.
These are my kind of fights, boxing on the edge of the ring, use the jab, use the footwork, moving left.
See, on the thoughts of shit that Don looks like Will besides, so we don't know how to clue if it look right or not. We keep buying fucking Mac Black ass faces. But you don't have to fuck with them. What they look like. What? What?
Matt Black ass first.
You just showed it to me. What you talking about? You just turned when you walked there, you turned the phone around.
Round still up for grabs with just 10 seconds to go. That was almost a 10-8 round. There's the bell for round 3. After a really strong round, let's see if they can finish the job.
Todd, my motto is, if it's not broken, why change it? An excellent last round, everything worked. Wait for the reaction. Until then, keep doing what you've just been doing because you've won that hands down.
It's just so special, you know, I miss.
Counter punch caught him clean. They're both going for the KO. It's so obvious. Positives and negatives in the heavyweight division are the same. You can win the fight with one punch, and you can lose the fight in one punch. You would not want to be hit by this guy. Trust me. Beautiful counter shot. With 10 seconds left. You know that bell was sweet. Here we go in round 4. Who's going to land the first big shot? That corner has got to find a way to get some momentum behind their fighter.
That was a tough last round. Now you've got to make sure he doesn't put it on him. That's what he's going to try and do. So tie him up, hold him, lean on him. Don't get drawn into a fight. Not yet. Not until your senses have come back.
They need to be careful they don't punch themselves out here. You'd like to see more jabs. You've seen all the famous boxing movies, the training scenes, the gym work. That's what it all boils down to. Who's going to have more endurance?
Now this is about desire. This is about character. This is about want.
These two are the perfect dance partners.
Perfectly matched. Skill for skill. Tap for tap. Now this fight will say, you know what, I'm just that notch above you. And so I've got to respect both of them more than I do.
Which fighter will say no mas? Beautiful counter shot. The only fear you have with this heavyweight is This is like Rocky versus Apollo. Despite what the judges' scorecards read, there are no losers in this one. He is down big time on the scores.
Leaves enough.
And there's the bell for round 5. Coming off a very tough round. Let's see what they do here.
This is one of those situations. You've just been hurt. You've got to get out there again. Be smart. Be sharp. Don't be a fool. Don't get suckered in. Make him fight your fight. Hold him, tie him up just until your head clears again and your legs come back again. Because if you don't, he's going to pop you off.
Talk about punches and bunches. That's the mantra for this fighter with that exceptional hand speed.
You gotta ruffle their feathers, Todd. You cannot let them get comfortable, drag them, get them complaining to the referee, because once somebody with excellent foot speed and excellent power gets into the rhythm, the fight is over.
Not a lot of punch output. Thought there might be more action here. A perfect counter lands. Halfway through the round, and I don't know who's got the advantage. Great stuff.
They're so close, so close. How can you separate them? It's going to be a hard night tonight for the judges.
Not a lot of punch output. Thought there might be more action here. Needs to put some combination work together. One punch is good, 2 punches better. You'd like to see more jabs. Looking to land the hook. You know the scorecards are going to be all over the place in this one. Well, we're entering desperation mode here. Gonna need a knockout. On to the 6th round. Safe to say that last round was a nightmare. Let's see if we can turn it around here.
Now he knows he's been hurt. He's going to come out and put the pressure on. He's going to throw the kitchen sink at you. You've got to be ready for that. Don't fight fire with fire. Hold him off. Be smart, because he's going to try and put you under pressure. He knows your legs have gone. He knows your head's not cleared. Be sharp.
Well, just a couple rounds left, Johnny. What's your assessment so far?
I've never seen a fighter so fast in my life. How do you deal with this? You've got to hope they run out of steam.
And this with that jab. Beautiful counter shots. Halfway through the round, and man, these two are going at it.
Perfectly matched, skill for skill, tap for tap. Now this fight will say, you know what, I'm just that much above you, and so I've got to respect both of them more than happy.
Just missed with that hook. Is he going to punch himself out, though? He threw a punch and just got countered. Not a lot of punch output. Thought there might be more action here. This round could go either way. 10 seconds to go. That bell could not have come sooner. There's the bell to start round 7. Well, they got battered last round. How do they turn their fortunes around?
That was a tough last round. Now you've got to make sure he doesn't put it on him. That's what he's going to try and do. So tie him up, hold him, lean on him. Don't get drawn into a fight. Not yet. Not until your senses have come back.
You heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. A knockout victory and one of the biggest surprises of the year.
A knockout victory. That is, Todd, did you see the shot? That's not a
Shots.
knockout. That's
And Maria is rushed and dragged off the horses by 2 or 3 Apache women and maybe a man that we'll talk about later. In either case, the Apache present immediately drew knives and began stabbing her. At this moment, Francisco Fimbres had to make a decision. Among the worst I can imagine. Several accounts say he had a gun, either a revolver or a rifle. Some say he was unarmed, but most do say that he was. When he sees his wife attacked, what should he have done? Should he have marched forward to try to save his wife and son? Or does